What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a short one, but we are going to mount up some Advan Model T7s. Let's do it. Alright, so just to show you guys upstairs, we've been opening wheels and setting them up, getting pictures of them for the website, and the two Advan T7s that we're going to mount with tires are actually to go with this pair right here. So these ones already have tires on them, so we figured might as well put tires on the other pair, and then we'll have them set up here along with all these other wheels. But yeah, so these are Yokohama AVS Model T7s. This pair is 18 by 9 plus 22, and then the pair downstairs that we're going to mount are 18 by 9 plus 45. So pretty decent spec, I would say, for like an S chassis if you want to run a big tire in the back and zero camber for drifting or whatever. It's a nice classic Yokohama wheel. So let's go downstairs and we'll mount up that pair. Alright, so like I mentioned upstairs, we already have a pair of the Yokohama Model T7s that have tires on them, and we are going to put tires on this pair. So just to give you a closer look, they're pretty decent. They're, for the age, I would say they're in pretty good shape. This one does have some sort of brake dust really caked on there. I'm not sure how it would come off, but nonetheless, it's still a good shape wheel. Like I said, these are 18 by 9. So if you can see here, 18 by 9 plus 45. And then the ones upstairs were 18 by 9 plus 22. The ones upstairs have 215/40 18 tires on them. So we are going to do the same and mount up this pair of 215/40 18 hand cooks. So yeah, I'm going to set you guys up on a tripod and we'll just mount this pair up. Tire mounting can be pretty simple if you understand what needs to be done and why. So let's start with clamping the wheel. These clamps clamp onto the bottom of the wheel from the outside going in. Having protective guards will ensure there will be no damage to the wheels even when reverse mount. Some people also clamp from the inside out, but I don't ever recommend doing it this way. Typically, you only clamp from the inside out on steel wheels. Doing it on alloy wheels will leave indentations inside the barrel, which is a big no-no if you care about your wheels. So always clamp from the outside in. Now we can set the height of the tool or mounting head. Every machine should have replaceable protective guards for the head as well. Maintaining and replacing protective guards is extremely important if you don't want to scratch or damage the wheel. And making sure you're setting the distance between the head and the wheel is critical here. You're basically setting a buffer zone for when you mount the tire and the tire starts to tension as it goes onto the wheel. With the mounting head set, we can go ahead and mount the tire. Always use proper tire lubricant and apply it to both beads of the tire. This makes it easier for the tire to go on. To install the first bead, take note of the positioning of the valve. There's a specific reason for this. As we install the first bead of the tire, you'll notice that while the wheel and tire rotate, the bead of the tire will actually fall down into the drop center of the wheel. We want where the valve is to be the last point on the wheel of where the tire bead will seat into the drop center of the wheel. So position the valve in this way when installing both the first and second bead of the tire. It'll be easier to see while we install the second bead of the tire. Notice here where the valve is. The tire bead is actually still sitting above the edge of the wheel. And just before the valve, you can see the tire bead is just starting to sit below in the drop center of the wheel. This entire section of the bead will tension as the wheel rotates and fall down into this opening. You can see right here, if the valve was positioned in that area, it could potentially get stuck on the valve, causing unnecessary tension, which would make installing the tire more difficult. Or if this wheel was equipped with a metal valve or a tire pressure sensor, you can see that the tire bead would pull right here and potentially break the metal valve or tire pressure sensor. So this is why we always position the valve to be the last point on the wheel of where the tire bead will seat itself. Now it's just a matter of inflating the tire to seat the beads and install the valve core. It's pretty simple, like I said, if you understand what to do and why to do it. I've seen over the years so many guys in tire shops that don't really understand why you're doing certain things, and it's pretty easy to watch someone do something and then just try to mimic what they're doing. But if you don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, then it kind of makes tire mounting a little more difficult. But if you fully grasp everything, you'll be able to mount any tire with any machine. It doesn't need to be a touchless mounter like the one that I'm using. I'll probably do a video where I use my basic mounting machine to do the same thing. And yeah, it's pretty easy, guys. Well, this wheel got the best of me. I didn't really check, and I thought this was a short metal valve, but it's actually a regular metal valve that has been cut or broken off. And it looks like it's the same thing on this one as well. So it's actually so short that you can't put the valve core in because it actually has nowhere to thread into. If you look at a valve core, it'll focus on this. Yeah, so you can see that the top of this valve core has threads on it, and that's what actually threads into the inside of a valve. And this one is so short that when I went to go thread it in, it'll focus here. Yeah, the section that is supposed to have threads on the inside is not even there. But it's not a big deal. Luckily, yeah, we can just pull this valve out and replace it with a rubber valve. Realistically, it's probably better anyways because we don't know how old the gaskets on this valve are and they could cause problems in the future. So let's get the bead broken on this tire and get that valve swapped out, and then we'll carry on. Well, at least now I can show you guys how to dismount or break the bead. So again, notice the position of the valve here. You're going to want to break the bead not where the valve is. So I typically will go next to where it is. Now you can break the back side all the way around. The front side you only need to break the bead in one spot, but the back side you want to try and get it fully broken all around. Don't knock me for the wheel lift, guys. This thing saves your back. And remember what I said earlier, always clamp the wheel from the outside in. This bead press system on this Hunter TCX 575 is coming in clutch here. Basically, it's allowing us to push the bead down without actually dismounting the tire. So you can see we've got access here to the valve now with the bead depressed. Now, if I had to do this on my basic mounting machine, I would just be using the shovel to hold the bead of the tire down. But now we have access to loosen the nuts on this metal valve and get it out. Alright, so here you can see how the metal valves typically work on wheels. It's just basically two O-rings or gaskets, and then they are sandwiched in with a washer and two nuts. And yeah, they're great, but over time the gaskets will dry out. So it's actually not a bad thing that we're going to replace it with a regular rubber valve. This actually works out well because if you are putting on a tire, typically it's good just to replace the valve every single time. You have the tire off already, so you might as well. So we're just going to install it with this valve puller tool. It's pretty simple. You insert the valve into the valve hole and thread it into the tool, and it's pretty straightforward. You just pull the valve through. But like I said before, with the tire install, always use proper tire lubrication, and it even helps on the valve as well. So here you can see how this tool really works, and it's good to have a good quality one. This one has a very thick rubber area here, so you can actually leverage it on the wheel without damaging the wheel whatsoever. Usually if it's a really nice wheel, I'll actually still use a microfiber cloth in between. So the valve's installed and we can move on. Alright, so in order for us to balance these, we have to pull the center caps out. Something cool on these Yokohama wheels, or most Yokohama wheels from this era. These are all real bolts, so we have to take all of these out. It's not like nowadays where one bolt is real or two bolts are real and the rest of them are fake. So we've got all these bolts to take out so that we can balance them. so now you can get a better idea of what we were doing. Just mounting up tires on wheels that already had a pair and just making them kind of complete so that we can put them up here and display them. Because like I mentioned before in other videos, we do have wheels that don't have tires on them, and those are on the racks over there and down there. So everything up here has tires on them. Some of the tires are old, some of them are still usable. We can dismount them if people don't want them. But I mean, kind of the upside to having tires is you can just throw it on your car right away and test fit them instead of having just bare wheels. Sorry guys, the floor is pretty creaky up here, but yeah, give you guys an idea of how things have been coming along. Let me know in the comments, does this kind of give you like a up garage vibe? It does to me, just having all the wheels displayed like this. We're eventually going to get signs as well for pricing and just details on the wheels, like condition and all that stuff. But yeah, all these wheels should be added to our website very soon. We're almost done. It's just, you gotta bear with us because we have a lot of stuff to go through and it's been taking forever. It's been probably a few weeks since the container has arrived, and yeah, you can imagine how much stuff there is to go through and how it is taking pictures. I mean, you saw us set up the wheels along here on the wall to take product pictures, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a pretty short video and it was kind of just mounting tires, but I figure I haven't really showcased anything like that on the channel in a while, and that is originally what we started doing from the beginning, is mounting tires. That's kind of our specialty. So I figured it would be a nice video to kind of show how I mount tires, and hopefully, I'm not really sure how I'm gonna put it all together, but hopefully I did a little voiceover that gives you more in-depth understanding of how tires are mounted. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you click the like button, and if you're not subscribed, make sure you click subscribe, because we're gonna keep putting out videos on JDM parts that we have, and of course the S13. I know it's been a couple of videos since we've worked on that, but as soon as I get all the parts and stuff organized and everything on the website, we'll be diving back into the S13, because I still want to drive it this season, and it's pretty much the end of the season. So again guys, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.